Really, Nickelodeon? Really, Nickelodeon? Really, Nickelodeon? Really, Nickelodeon? Another episode of the Squidward Torture Festival? My God! You call this funny? Because I don't think so. Not to me, nuh-uh. That wasn't funny. Hey guys, and yes, I am back at ranting on SpongeBob episodes that I hate. Yep, the last time I did that was back in June of last year, but now I'm back at ranting on SpongeBob episodes that I hate. So anyways, here is my review / rant on Restraining SpongeBob. The first SpongeBob episode that I'm going to rant on for 2023. Yep, and it's Restraining SpongeBob from Season 8. So anyways, enjoy. So basically what the plot is, it begins at home, Squidward waking up from his beauty sleep, but then is increasingly annoyed by SpongeBob sharpening his trusty spatula. And as he walks to the Krusty Krab, SpongeBob annoys him by repeatedly asking if he can walk with him. And Squidward's like, "Fuck off, you motherfucker." And once they end up at work, Squidward gets infuriated and SpongeBob continues to be very annoying. Because of course, let's make SpongeBob an asshole. Especially when he cannot seem to figure out the mustard dispenser is empty, and with its sound effects causing a patron to think Squidward has a farting problem, which is not funny, it's just really nasty. Especially with the fart jokes that they use for SpongeBob. It's not funny at all, it's just very freaking nasty. And an infuriated Squidward enters the kitchen to get it food to SpongeBob, and eventually leans on the grill and accidentally burns his right tentacle. When SpongeBob tries to put the fire out with a bucket of water, he then accidentally spills it onto the floor, causing Squidward to slip. And as Squidward flies through the air, SpongeBob tries to catch him in a jellyfishing net, but it breaks and it accidentally drops Squidward into the deep fryer. And the more SpongeBob tries to help him by running over to the deep fryer by pulling out a fried Squidward, the more he does some damages, like accidentally bungles things and further injures Squidward by tripping over a mop. And after accidentally tripping over the mop, SpongeBob now lands into the order window, causing Squidward to flip right out of the basket and knocking out a customer's Krabby Patty. The customer then accidentally bites into Squidward's flesh, resulting in Squidward screaming pain, and the customer freaks out. The next day, the customer now throws Squidward back into SpongeBob and lands into the mouth by bouncing it right off. I'm sorry about that, guys. When Squidward crashes into a soda machine and breaking it, Mr. Krabs now comes out of the office crying like a little bitch. And SpongeBob goes over to him and asks if he was alright. Squidward then screams and runs from him, hiding behind the table. And when SpongeBob gets closer, Squidward resorts to climbing the walls and sealing off the Krusty Krab to get away from him, because he doesn't want anything to do with him. Wow. If Squidward really hates the Krusty Krab, and if he hates SpongeBob, it comes to a point where why couldn't he just find a new job or quit his old job? Or move somewhere that's far away from SpongeBob. I'm pretty sure he'll get some peace and quiet around here. But no, everything is Squidward Torture Festival. This and that, everything is Squidward Torture Festival. Poor Squidward. He can't have a good life, can he? Apparently not, because it's always done fucked up by Motherfucker 1 and Motherfucker 2, which are SpongeBob and Patrick. Mr. Krabs then reveals SpongeBob really set him over the edge. And the next day, Squidward gives SpongeBob a gift. But it was not an apology gift. It was a restraining order in which his 3 lawyers from the law offices of Harry, Combover, and Bald explained to him that they tell SpongeBob that he cannot come within 15 feet of Squidward or else he'll go to jail. SpongeBob is all of a sudden confused, but when Squidward tells him that he cannot prepare Krabby Patty if he is in jail, then it caused SpongeBob to be struck with fear, and he does everything he can to avoid coming within 15 feet of Squidward. SpongeBob resumes working, but unfortunately, the window from which SpongeBob gives order to Squidward is within the 15 feet range, so that the cash and the counter are moved to the right by the restroom door. And when SpongeBob tries to give the orders to Squidward by means of a pole, but Squidward ignores it. And when SpongeBob tells Mr. Krabs that he's having trouble with his work due to his restraining order imposed on him by Squidward, Mr. Krabs says that he doesn't know what a restraining order is. But since it is hindering business, he tells SpongeBob that he has to think of another way or he'll have more stars removed from his employee performance chart. And apparently, SpongeBob is going to freak out like a little baby if that was the case. Of course, because when it comes to SpongeBob crying or throwing tantrums or things not getting his way in seasons 5 to 9, SpongeBob acts like a freaking baby. And if Mr. Krabs does that, I'm pretty sure he's gonna act like a baby as well. Why did they have to make SpongeBob not only just very unlikable and very selfish, but did they really make him this childish? In seasons 5 to 9, did they really make him this childish? Oh my god. SpongeBob has no sense of maturity on him whatsoever in seasons 5 to 9. And Mr. Krabs then removes a gold star from SpongeBob's performance chart, causing the later to freak out, and he begins thinking of a way to make his job more easier. And then he immediately got an idea. Of course, it's going to get worse rather than better. And in the next scene, Patrick is tiptoeing to Squidward, and Squidward tries to ignore him, but it didn't work. Patrick tries to tell Squidward that he now has a hat, and Mr. Krabs reveals that he is now hired as a middleman. And Squidward will not stand on it now that the employees are both his annoying neighbors. Of course, because Motherfucker 1 and Motherfucker 2 always find a way to ruin Squidward's life. And so he marches over to Mr. Krabs and complains to him, saying, "Those 2 motherfuckers are ruining my life. I want to get away from them as soon as possible." However, Mr. Krabs tells Squidward that unless he lifts a restraining order against SpongeBob, he will have to put up with Patrick, which really irritated Squidward so bad. SpongeBob prepares the food, and Patrick then gives the orders to Squidward. Unfortunately, Patrick asks Squidward if he can watch him work, Squidward says, "No! Fuck off!" But Patrick continues to watch, and Patrick does things that really annoy the living hell out of him, such as following him around, the Krusty Krab, appearing inside the cash register, using the bathroom, touching his hat. Squidward then becomes very nervous that Patrick could appear any minute before he freaks. And when Mr. Krabs says his name and tells him it's time for break, Squidward's like, "Oh yeah, it's time to play with my lovely clarinet." But he opens his clarinet box to play, and it's not there. Patrick tells Squidward that he cleaned it with a bathroom, to which Squidward sarcastically tells him that he did fine. Which he did not do fine, he did a shitty job. Especially with, alright, who would use a clarinet for a toilet? That's really nasty. Part 2 will be in session, so stay tuned.